Hey, my name is Reuben. Shears. This is going to be an off-the-cuff video of how I made around $12,000 in the last week with my online service business, my funnel building agency, and hopefully how you can do the same. So I'm going to give a high-level overview of the strategies I've been using, and yeah, you should get some value from the video. As you can probably tell, I'm not used to producing content, mainly because I was just inconsistent and didn't have a systemized process to do so, but that is obviously what I'm trying to do right now. So what I've got is like a bit of a pen in my hand, so I can actually draw on the main page, and I can switch between the camera views like this, so I won't have to do loads of editing after this, and hopefully that will mean I can post more content on a more regular basis. So like I say, these videos are not going to be probably the most dopamine filled retention based videos, but I'm sure you'll get some value out of this if you stay on. No worries if you don't. So I won't dive into my journey too much, but I want to give a bit of an overview of like what it took for me to get to this point and set the expectations, right? So it took me 8 months to make my first £1 online. It took me another 8 months to make my first few £1,000s online in a month. And then it took me another 8 months after that for me to hit my first 10K month. It was actually a 16.5K month. So I guess that's like $20,000 when the business blew up. And then a few months later after that, it's like 10K weeks and a few 8K days actually as well, depending on the day. So what I want to do is I want to break down how I did this, at least on a high level for this video, because I'm getting used to using all this stuff. I'm going to move my mic as well so I can actually draw. And I'm going to break this down. So there's 3 things you need to make money with an online service business. So it doesn't matter whether you're a coach, switch back to this camera, a coach, consultant, or kind of agency owner or whatever, you can all do this. I've just removed everything I just did on the screen, by the way. So 1, 2, 3, it's these 3 things, right? So we've got offer, we've got traffic, and we have funnel. And that kind of, I'm including sales with that, right? Like part of the sales funnel. But the first thing that we have to do is calibrate the offer. And this is the most important. The reason I'm drawing around this is because if you don't get your offer right, then this stuff afterwards is going to be not very applicable at all, and nothing's going to work, right? And you won't make money out of the end of it. Right, so an offer, essentially, you've probably heard Alex Hormozy talk about it a lot. It's what basically people are willing to pay you for. So it's the result that you're going to promise people, right? So if we can make that as tangible as possible, then that is going to ensure that they understand what you do, right? So if you just say like, I do SEO and marketing, this is an example, by the way, that tells us what you do, but it doesn't tell us the result I'm going to get from any of that at all, and it's not very compelling. So what we have to do is we have to make it as numerical as possible, tangible. So instead of saying that, we could say 5 clients in 90 days. And what that does is it allows me to calculate how much money I'm going to make from that offer, right? If I actually did get the 5 clients. I wouldn't say you should use this offer if you're a marketing agency, by the way. It's just an example. It's actually getting quite saturated now, but it displays my point quite well because people are along the right lines, and that's why everyone's using it, right? But you can actually do a little bit better. For example, my offer is 2x cash collected on your sales calls, and I'll explain why that is. Let me switch back. It's essentially because the funnels that we build pre-nurture and pre-warm prospects before they even get on the call in the first place, and it makes the sales calls a lot easier. It pre-handles all the objections through the funnel that we build. So people are very likely to close much more deals than they're currently doing just for that reason, and that's why we can make that promise to people, right? The 2x cash collected. Reason this is tangible is because 2x is like, it's a multiplying term, right? So if you know that you're at 10K a month for an hour, wherever you're at, and I'm going to say I'm going to 2x it, then you know that means 20K a month for you, right? Because again, the reason we say 2x is because it's a percentage-based game with closing, right? And that's why we've got that. So just as a rule of thumb, in terms of offer and stuff, let's go back. Offer format would be you're basically instigating a transformation where they're at point A and then where they're going to point B, and actually in a certain time frame, so 60, 90 days, etc. Using your unique mechanism, so the name of your service, and then you can essentially throw in a risk reversal if you need, and the pain points they're experiencing. That will also help. So an example of that might be, we'll get you from 0 to 10K a month in 60 days, using our conversion ecosystem without having to spend loads of money on ads. And actually, if we don't get you that result, then you don't pay. That's like an example of an offer that's pretty good, to be honest. It's better than most people's offers. And if you lead with that, you're going to at least have a good basis for making some money, right? It's not the only thing that's going to make you money. People think that an offer is going to be enough. It's not. It's these two other things as well. But you have to start here, and you have to get it right. You have to make it tangible and numerical. So the next thing is traffic. What I mean by traffic is just attention. So attention is currency. You've probably heard that saying before, especially in this day and age. Attention. And what I mean by that is just how many eyeballs can you get on this offer here, right? Like how many people can you get to see the offer that you've got, because that is directly correlated with how much money you're going to make from this funnel, right? Because the funnel is a percentage like thing, right? Percentage of people who come in to the funnel, let's draw a funnel if we can, will come down to this single point of close, and there's it's all a bit wider up here. Everyone's going down the funnel, and that's a percentage of people. That's not like a set number. The set number is traffic, right? So like, I don't know, if you think about Mr. Beast, for example, he's got 400 million people following him. It doesn't really matter what percentage he has over here, as long as it's a percentage, he's going to make loads of money regardless of what offer he has, right? But in our case, we're not able to generate Mr. Beast views, so we have to optimize all of these things as much as possible, right? So where do we get traffic from? We get it from any outreach and like channel really, or ads, etc. So let's write that down. So we've got outreach, that could be cold outreach, warm outreach, whatever, ads, content, all that sort of stuff. To generate eyeballs on the offer. They all work, by the way. Like people say, oh, this doesn't work and this does, and this new strategy works and whatever. The truth is that every single acquisition channel works, even cold calling, believe it or not. If you do it on a long enough time frame, they all have their own bottlenecks. Like, for example, cold email, you might encounter issues with deliverability, and then you're looking at spin tax issues and all that sort of stuff. And then with ad, you're looking at I don't know, like click-through rates and creatives and all that stuff. Every single thing has its own problems, and you have to work through them. But if you do it on a long enough time frame, you're going to get traffic from these things. You can do them in combination because a lot of them actually work in tandem. For example, content is a catalyst to any other acquisition channel because it builds trust with the people that are actually like encountering your offer, right? Which is why all these people that you do trust are actually the ones that you see on social media, right? So once we've got attention, we have to drive them into a funnel. And a funnel can be all types of funnels, but the one I use is a landing page like funnel. It's kind of a 3-step funnel. So it's a VSL page. And then after they've gone through qualification, which is going to be here, like qual, they go to a booking page. It's literally just a calendar. And then they go to a thank you page, which is very much overlooked. So let's get rid of all that stuff. That is essentially what it looks like. If you do all of 3 of those things to an extent, you're going to make some sort of money, right? Because funnels are percentages, like I said. So my funnel, if we look at my VSL page, my main page, it looks a little bit like this. So I have my offer headline at the top. That's the offer that I mentioned at the start of this video. And then we have above the fold, what we call a VSL. It's a video sales letter. If you don't know what that is, it's essentially a video that's constructed to pre-warm and pre-nurture prospects before they get on a call so they know, like, and trust you. And they also pre-handle the most common objections that you've got on sales calls in the past, if you've had them, right? And we feed all that in. That's what I do for my clients, and it's part of what we build, right? Then what we have, we actually have a little question that says, ready for goal. So whatever your goal is for like a client, then you would insert that here. So it gives them a reason to click this button, which we call call to action here, right? Our call to action on our page is to get a free demo landing page on a call with us, right? So every single person that joins our calls, our sales calls, actually gets a free custom demo, like customized to their business, of a landing page, right? Which is extremely valuable, and it flips the value equation. So instead of you begging for people to get on a call with you, they're actually getting value out of it, and regardless of whether you close them or not, they're gonna like and trust you, right? So it's a positive interaction all round. So I would advise everyone watching this video, instead of saying book a call on your call to action here, this is getting messy, so I will remove it in a sec. Book a call. I would have, get your free one-to-one demo or something like that, right? It's much more compelling, it's much more valuable, and you should always lead with value, right? Couple of little tips for the landing page is like, don't overdo it. Don't have loads of links at the top, right? People are going to be clicking off those. Definitely don't link your socials at the top because that's where they just came from, right? You've just literally driven everyone from like your YouTube, right, and your whatever here to this page, and now you're sending them back. Why would you do that, right? So no links, like that's banned. The only thing they can do is watch this video and click this call to action, right? That is literally the only thing we're allowing on the funnel for them to go to the booking page, which is actually not the booking page. They go to, they go to a type form first, right? That type form routes them based on their responses. So I don't want to jump on calls with people making no money because that's a big waste of my time. I have things that I need to be working on in the business that are extremely high leverage and I can't afford to be doing that. So we have a type form. In a simple sense, it follows like Hormozzi's BANT framework. If I can actually remember what these are, it's like, I don't know, authority, need and timing, and then what's the B? Budget, but like that's so like pricing, right? So basically asking those types of questions on the form and qualifying people based on those answers. So for us at the moment, it's like anyone above 5k, it's not actually dollars, but whatever, it's pounds, will be routed to booking, and anyone below that goes to just get like free value, like a lead magnet, right? Some people will direct book when they come out of the type form on this booking page. Some people simply won't. Like they just can't find a slot or whatever, or they don't have time, or they're on the move, or on the train or whatever. They're not going to book, right? Which is why it's important that at the start of that type form we use a partial submission. So we collect their phone and email, regardless of whether they finish the form and regardless of whether they book in, right? So that we can phone them up and then get more appointments, because that will dramatically reduce your cost per book call. That is a metric that we will be tracking, right? In our industry, agency industry, online business kind of industry, it's around $200 to have a conversation like that. If you start dialing, it's going to be closer to 80, right? So dial your leads is kind of a lesson from that. But that's kind of an overview of that. So they come to booking and they have that. And then after they've booked, we send them to our thank you page. And what does this page have on it? It has kind of 3 steps. The first step is to make sure they've watched the VSL, but actually you can either have the same VSL or you can have a more in-depth one that is diving into their service even deeper. So in-depth VSL is step 1. Because at this point, we don't care whether they finish the video or not, right? Because we're not bothered about retention and whether they're going to book in on. They've already booked. So like if they watch it, great. If they don't, then whatever. It gives more info for them by the time they get on the call. Second thing is literally just saying that like you have a strict no-show policy, right? So if people don't rock up, they're never going to be able to book with you ever again. Do it in the nicest way possible, obviously, but that's kind of the idea of that. That's going to increase your show-up rate. So is this as well. And then the third thing is get them to look at all of your case studies in one go. Those are 3 steps. Show that on the thank you page. You'll get more shows, but also you get a higher close rate as well, which is super important. So the demo will also do that. So if you do some sort of demo lead magnet that you can show people on a call, you are going to have the same impact. So as you can gauge, like I know a decent amount about this stuff, and that's why I'm showing you right now, because we do this for our clients, right? That's the exact strategies that we do for our clients. So that's a bit of a breakdown of that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should show you that has made us that amount of money in the past week. I guess sales calls. So we don't show the demo as soon as people get on the sales calls, right? We include it in the pitch. So we frame the call a little bit like this. Let's go back to here. So frame the call like they jump on, a bit of small talk, where you're from, that sort of stuff. And then it's literally framing the call saying, so the purpose of the call really is to gauge a little bit more about your business, see where you're at, the kind of marketing you're doing. And if we are the right fit, then I can run you through in a little bit more depth the demo that I've built out for you, if that sounds good. And they'll be like, yeah. And then they'll do that. And then you can just take it like a normal sales call. Don't worry about the fact they got on there for like some free value, and provide the free value at the end. And they'll come away from the call very, very happy. Like everyone comes away from my calls, like regardless of whether they bought, like super, super happy with the connection they built on that, right? So you can do the same. And that is what you do on the sales calls. If you don't know what to do on sales calls, just dive into the pain, find what their goal is, and bridge that gap with your service, right? That is literally what sales is. There's a lot more to it, obviously, handling objections, all that stuff, but that is the nature of sales. So I've just realized that I've been writing that without showing you, so sorry about that. Let me show that now. Pain, goal, service in between, use it as the bridge, right? Yeah, so that's a bit of a breakdown of how we did that. I guess if I just show you what our metrics are, for example, so our offer is 2x cash collected, right? Then we are getting our traffic, basically, is from these few channels. So we've got ads, we have IG DMs, they're working actually quite well at the moment as well. And you just have a cost per book call associated with them. So as long as you can afford that, that's absolutely fine. And then We have, what else? YouTube right now. Like this video you're watching is an acquisition channel for me, right? It's a catalyst to these two, to be honest. I don't care about getting loads of views. I care about it basically just building rapport with everyone I'm talking to from the ads and the DMs, to be honest. So if you've come from there, hi. Glad you're watching this video, and we will probably talk soon. And then the next thing is the funnel. I kind of showed you what my funnel looks like, but KPIs for the funnel, let's just kind of run through in order what those KPIs are. So direct booking rate, so from the type form, let's go like 30%, is pretty standard. Then we've got show up rate. You want it to really be 75%. At scale, it might be closer to like 70%. And then your close rate needs to be like around the 25% mark. That can include payment plans as well. But you also should be monitoring like how many people you're closing with an upfront payment, and also the ones that are on payment plans, because if so, you need to potentially adjust your offer and look at those things. But hopefully that helps. That's kind of literally how I've just made 10K in the last week. If you want me to dive more in depth about, I don't know, how I make the custom demos and autopilot with AI or something like that, then let me know. But I'm hoping that this video is relatively valuable, and also that the audio is recorded, because last time I did this, the audio didn't, and then I had to re-record the entire thing. So there you go. Right, cool. Let's just end it on this. Yeah, so like I say, if you want to watch one of these videos again, then let me know. Just put a comment or whatever, and I'll do that. Not expecting to get loads of views, but yeah, catch you in a bit.